Hey everybody. So I wanted to come on quickly and comment on a video I've seen floating around of a woman who was on a reality TV show for the love of Ray J. I actually remember her. Obviously, that was prime reality TV time, and I loved TV during that time because I think I might have been a teenager at the time. And I thought she was just so pretty. Her name is Monica Leon. She went by Danger on the show. I saw people saying she's biracial, but I'm going to say she's multiracial because she implied she had black, white, and other people in her family. But what I want to speak on here is how Blackistan will use pedestalization to manipulate you into the black struggle frat. And if you're not careful, it will exploit you for its benefit, chew you up, spit you out, and grind you into the ground, especially if you're a beautiful and or MLS woman. And I think that's because so much of black culture is centered around pimp culture. And I kind of touched on my thoughts about how the black community functions in that way in my history of a light skin preference video, but I didn't go into very much detail about how men exploit women, more about how women exploit women. It's actually quite disgusting. And when I'm reading in between the lines of what she's saying, I'm clear that she's upset she chose black Pakistani men. But I also think she probably experienced some betrayal from black women, and you can tell she's hurt by that. And she because she probably wasn't aware how male identified most black women are, and she seems to be hurt by that fact. But let's watch the video.
Now at 37 years old, and like just seeing like the questions people are asking me in the comments and stuff, and I like to be honest. I really like to be honest because I feel like if people are honest, it's just good for everyone. So I really am just gonna be honest.
Select arm system type. Arm stay.
If I had chosen a different path, um, in life, a different path, and I just completely stayed away from all black people, my life would have been way better. Like, way better. If I had just married a nice white boy from my neighborhood growing up, or from my church, and lived in the suburbs and finished college, yeah, I'd probably be a doctor or a lawyer, and I probably would have had a totally normal, wonderful life without any drama at all, without any abuse at all. Like, I could have just found a nice person and married them, and they wouldn't have been black, and my life would have been awesome. Awesome. I wouldn't have been in the hospitals. I wouldn't have been in the jails or the prisons. I wouldn't have gotten attacked. And 100% of the people who attacked me were black. 100% of them were black. 100% of the people that I've had to fight were black. 100% of the people that watch that show that are already, with just being on social media again, are saying fucked up shit. And what's interesting about this whole thing, right, is had I not been so empathetic to the black situation, and had I not really just known about the history and read so many books in college, I read Elaine Brown's book, she's a Black Panther. I read a lot of the Black Panthers books in college. And I was super upset about what was happening. And I did not have a black family. I had maybe like a handful of people who were black in my family. Everybody else was not black. They treated me bad, but not as bad as the black family members treated me. No. My black family members treated me the worst, not the other races. And black people in my schools and in the community treated me the worst, and still do. So I'm saying all this to say, I never wanted to be your role model. I'm saying all this to say, I never wanted to be your role model. I never wanted to be your icon. I hate you. I do. I hate you. And why would I not? Why would I not hate you? Look what you've done to me. Look how you've ruined my fucking life. I hate how ignorant you are. I hate how you post my naked pictures and tell me about dangerous smash zombies. I fucking hate you. And if you do that shit to my face, I'll probably fucking face if I see you. So I would really suggest if you see me in public, be as respectful as possible, because I do not give a fuck. I will fucking knock you out, and then I'll do a video of you and put it on my page. And I have money, so I'll just fucking hire a lawyer, and then I'll get you locked up their way. Because if I'm out with my son and you start up some shit, I'm gonna take you out. Like, I will just take you out. Like, I don't give a fuck at all. I'm not playing no games with black people anymore. You guys are dumb. You're fucking ignorant. The ones that aren't dumb, who are dope, be dope. But I'm not gonna hold back with you guys. I'm not gonna hold back with you guys. I could have had a much better life, but I chose to sacrifice my life for you. Backslid. And it's your fault. It's your fault. You can't blame slavery. That shit was a long fucking time ago, sweet pea. You cannot blame the police. You're animals. Take care of your health better. Take care of each other better. Nobody gives a fuck about you. And that's why.
I honestly feel bad for her. I can tell the hate she feels is not from a place of bigotry per se, but more from a place of being betrayed and deceived too much. It's giving, oop, thought you had a friend. No, ma'am. Blackistan isn't ideal for empaths or people who have too much humanity. I keep seeing people say that she should take accountability and she should stop blaming Black people for her downfall. But the thing is that the Black struggle frat pretends to be a safe, inclusive environment where people will have your back. But she's even acknowledging in this video that Black people don't take care of each other. Blackistan functions in a perpetual state of scarcity. And unfortunately, the suffering she underwent and the attitude she has now about the Black community is what happens when you fall for the okie doke that is being pedestalized in Blackistan. I said several times in several different videos that I believe the pedestals given to you by the Black community are raggedy as fuck, and the privileges are fleeting because they're almost always accompanied by some sort of abuse. That's because Blackistanis believe you should be punished or at least hazed for being upheld or admired to some degree, especially if they feel it places you above them in their internalized hierarchy and it gives you the potential to actually tangibly benefit from said privileges. So the reason I feel bad for her is because, like many other exoticals who succumb to the manipulation of the Black struggle culture, she was touted as the preference and was probably told whatever she was doing was taking one for the team, a team that never actually intended to include or protect her. The catch about being preferred in the Black community is that it doesn't actually equal genuine adoration for women in Blackistan. It just praises you temporarily to get your guard down and make you more susceptible to the manipulation. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen to men, but obviously I'm speaking from a female perspective. Another thing I mentioned in the video about the history of the light skin preferences, that women in our community are conditioned to center our lives around being the ideal male-centered puppet who's ready to mindlessly do whatever and accept whatever treatment in honor of being accepted by a Black man. And the thing about that is that preferences are, told that they'll have an easier time with that for whatever reason, when statistically it's not working for anybody. But anyway, the scary thing is that Blackistan will hide the ill intentions and abuse of women in our community behind tall tales of protection and provision or sisterhood and unconditional support. And in another video that she did, I won't show it because she spoke on her attempted suicide. It was a direct reaction to her perpetual abuse in Blackistan. And people will always say, well, why didn't she leave? But like most tough situations and abusive environments, Blackistan has a way of booby trapping you, making it very difficult to leave. The thing is that Black folks like to pretend we as a whole aren't a pack of toxic ass anti-Black group thinkers who believe that everyone has to stick to their stereotype, especially pretty women. They want us to be brainless and quote unquote submissive enough to be easily exploited until it's time to be held accountable. And suddenly your own abuse is your own fault, even though you've literally been groomed since childhood to accept exploitation. And then we can't forget that like most people are extroverted and seek validation from more social sources. And Blackistanis will even guilt you and get upset and try to gaslight you if you don't want to participate in groupthink or seek their validation. So now we're just not going to acknowledge how a lot of Black people are coerced into Black struggle culture because most people want to fit in and feel like they're a part of something bigger. That's just human nature. And we can't pretend that the Black community doesn't exploit that, sometimes simply for entertainment. It's sad. And I even saw this video earlier that kind of spoke on how vulnerable people are exploited. Let's take a look.
About Shay and her sister being exploited, but the people with disabilities that get the most exploited are men like Mook Tunk from YSL. These men that have 7th grade educations and clearly have some type of intellectual disability to where on the stand he said he could hardly read. These are the type of brothers that get exploited more than anyone in our community. I worked with people with disabilities, and who I was most concerned for were the brothers who had mild disabilities that you could not tell by looking at them, but they have been diagnosed as mild MR, or those who never were diagnosed but clearly had intellectual disabilities, because these brothers were so pressed to fit in and they would not disclose, where you have other populations of people with disability where they have to, they don't have to disclose. You can look and say, okay, there might be an issue. But there are individuals, possibly like this man from YSL, Mook Tunk, who, looking at him, you don't see the intellectual disability, but clearly it's there. And oftentimes they want to fit in the community so much. I had a customer one time, literally, every time this boy got paid, he got robbed by his friends, by people he thought were his friends. He would get paid on a Tuesday, come back to the program by Wednesday, and would be broke. And you'd be like, where's your money? Oh, my friend, my friends needed to borrow money, and it was like he was getting exploited. And a lot of times these men, these boys who grow up to be men with these type of disabilities, they are the ones that you can exploit and get to do ridiculous things. And a lot of them are sitting in jail right now because they weren't properly diagnosed, or if they were, they weren't comfortable disclosing it. And the police don't know, people don't care that you can't read, once you get locked up for a crime. But clearly it's indicative of a disability.
And I'll say for me, it was only easy for me to deliberately dodge the quote unquote in crowd toxicity because I was an introvert and I saw the role that the pretty girl monolith had to play. I was like, spare me the bullshit and STIs. But what's crazy is that a lot of the commentary I've seen responding to her video acknowledge how fucked up Black struggle culture can be and how it traumatized them as well. But they still hold on to the lack of empathy, especially for women, especially women they consider privileged. That's very common in Black culture. It's giving, oh, you not so high and mighty after all, are you, huh? Even after this woman then been through it, that shit's written all over her face. People are still trying to humble her. That's crazy. She has been humbled by life. She doesn't need to be humbled any fucking more. She's literally saying that she was and still is being pedestalized in Blackistan against her will, and she fell for the petty privilege, which put her in a position to be exploited and abused even further by those who deem proximity to her as a come up, especially in Hollywood. The Diddy situation is exactly how that works. They make promises to get you to agree to the bullshit, and then they hit your ass with the okie doke. Now, do I believe in personal responsibility? Absolutely. But I could see, as a person who is considered quote unquote privileged in the Black community, how she could miss how raggedy the pedestal actually is. Because when you get to the pedestal or you realize you have it, it may be in pristine condition. But because of the jealousy and conniving pimp-like culture and exploitative nature of Black struggle culture, especially as it relates to beautiful women in our community, she probably didn't realize that the Blackistanis were chipping at her pedestal little by little, so she wasn't making sure to balance her pretty privilege with other privileges. Unfortunately for her, Blackistanis hate beautiful women, or at least they hate how much they love beautiful women. And what they hate even more than beautiful women is beautiful women with fluid identities. But they will still try to latch onto you and exploit that fluidity, that beauty, or that inherent nurturing nature that you have from being a woman. We see it every day. Blackistan will suck the life out of you, quite literally, if you're not careful. She's a prime example of how it will cancel out your privilege. I saw people keep saying that the tattoo on her face is what's canceling out her privilege, but makeup is a thing. Like, come on now. But really, her privilege was canceled out by her becoming a baby mama. And not that having children removes your privilege, it just definitely makes it more difficult for you to leverage and balance all of your privileges that you possess. She's still very pretty, but her struggle is written all over her face. Her mental health is affected. Her confidence is shot. She has hella baggage now, and that's just what I'm seeing based on this video. Blackistan has done her in. And I'm going to say this, and you know what? I mean it exactly how I'm saying it. As an exotical, or even as just a pretty girl with proximity to Blackness to whatever degree, you have to pimp the Black community and get out before it can pimp you. Be here for a good time, not a long time. This means, yes, get in, get your bag, and get out and act brand new. This looks like gaining popularity using your superficial privileges within the Black community and leveraging that popularity to come up however you choose. It could be using your blackness to get scholarships to educate yourself, come up and picking up and go into an environment that's more suitable for your mental health. It could be leveraging your blackness in other spaces to gain opportunities, or leveraging the beauty of your blackness in other spaces. And I'm not saying neglect the black community. I love black people, just black people like me. That's a distinction I'm not ashamed to make because I've been robbed enough to not want to go back to the hood. I have enough to lose to stay away from people who don't. If you want to grow, you have to leave Blackistan at some point, because the crabs will always pull you back into the barrel if you don't hop out quietly before they notice you're growing a bigger and better shell. And I know I'm mostly speaking on this from a pretty girl perspective, but in general, in Blackistan, this dynamic and phenomena looks like, like if you go on ghetto TikTok, you'll see like one of the running jokes is like a crackhead dancing or singing at the corner store for money or some shit. But the truth is, we have corners full of talented, genius ass crackheads because they were just people who were sabotaged by Black struggle culture. And that's the difference between talented people and successful people. If you're a talented person, I hate to break it to you, you're not special. God wasn't actually stingy when he was giving out gifts. But there are only a select group of people in the world with the willpower to dig themselves out of the toxicity of Blackistan or whatever tough situation they have and use their gifts to their advantage at some point. And I think as beautiful women, especially if you identify with blackness to some degree, it's crucial to maintain your mental fortitude and not be sucked into using your privilege as a martyr for the struggle, whether that be physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, just to be thrown away later. You don't want to end up being one of those bitter has-beens that self-soothes with narcissistic tendencies. Instead, just use your privileges to maximize your experience and live a life of bliss. Or at least that's my goal. So, yeah, that's all I have for this one. If you like this video, hop in the comments and let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.